Well, we've dodged some raindrops. The topic today is 20 gauge game loads. So as the control shotgun, I'm using a Browning B80 with a True Lock Precision Hunter modified choke. See the M right there, makes it easy without sticking your snoodle down the muzzle. So, gas operated Browning B80, True Lock modified. At a laser verified 32.5 yards, we're going to compare the latest and greatest from Winchester. First up is Winchester Super Pheasant. Now this is not a buffered load. It's only a 1 ounce load, 1300 feet per second, which people are going to like, makes it a low recoil load. Number 5, lead shot, but it's their diamond grade shot, which is double screened and 8% antimony. So this is the highest level of antimony and therefore the hardest lead shot ever offered in 20 or 12 gauge. Started out with the target loads, but now 12 and 20 in their Super Pheasant line. So we'll see how that does at 32.5 yards. So that's load number 1. Load number 2 is Winchester Bismuth number 4. It's a 3-inch shell, 1 ounce, also 1300 feet per second. So not quite as effective as lead number 5, but it gets in the ballpark. It would really be 3.5 to be a ballistic equivalent to lead number 5. But you go with Bismuth number 3, the pellet count drops, and we only have 1 ounce again to play with. And finally, this is the latest Winchester Blindside 2, which they've reformed the pellets. Blindside still does apparently pattern a little open compared to spherical shot. However, this is number 2 steel, but they can pack in an extra payload. So you have 1 ounce and a 1/16 at 1300 feet per second. So we'll see if that extra 1/16 of an ounce helps things out. So it's 32.5 yards, and for decoying ducks, several applications. At least there's enough range here where we should be able to tell the difference between the 3 different types of ammo. So first up is the Winchester Diamond Grade, a stamped diamond grade, number 5, 1 ounce. And of course we'll zoom in to give you an idea of the impact. Tell you what, for 1 ounce of number 5s, that is an excellent pheasant pattern. 32.5 yards, so there should be no problem just with a modified choke out to, let's say, 35, 37 yards. We're going to have to change paper. Even though this is not scientific, not intended to be, because we would need 10 shots at a large piece of paper and 10 30-inch circles to count pellets. Hopefully this will be enough to be representative. A lot of people don't discuss range in shotguns, but you realize if you go from 30 yards and you increase your range by 10%, that's 33 yards. 36, you're increasing your range from 30 yards by 20%. 39 yards, you're increasing your range by 30%. So a 30% increase in range, even though we're only going from 30 to 39 yards, that means an awful lot to a shot shell pattern. 30% more distance. So take that for what it's worth. But 5-10 yards to a shot shell pattern, it can mean a heck of a lot. If you look at some of the specs, let's say teak chokes, for example. A full choke at 60 yards, high quality loaves, apparently, you're looking at a 32% pattern percentage, and that's in a 30-inch circle. So there's not much you can do beyond a full choke for hunting except increase payload. And of course that doesn't always work out well, because if you're talking about a third of the pattern, to get back up you'd really have to almost triple your payload, which guns can't do and shoulders don't prefer to do. So it's a big difference. Anyway, that was our Winchester Super Pheasant, 1 ounce. And let's move it along. Next up is Winchester 20 gauge, 1 ounce Bismuth number 4. Winchester is getting a reputation for having the very best bismuth loads in the market. That's not just based on my experience, but that's several ballisticians and professional choke makers. It looks like Winchester has got the best stuff going, and they are buffered loads. So I don't expect a lot from bismuth, but if you want bismuth that isn't going to fracture and that gets close to lead, at least ballistically, looks like Winchester right now is the market leader. At least that's what it seems. But let's see how this shell does. Pretty good for just 1 ounce of bismuth. The longer range 12 gauge loads, including Winchester, are ounce and 3/8 generally. Okay, and for our finale is Winchester Blindside 2, number 2 steel, but 1 ounce and 1/16 payload. I'll tell you what, for number 2 steel out of a 20 gauge, that is a good looking pattern as well. Well, I can tell you what, I'm surprised. Not the first time, but I guess the least surprising to me would be 1 ounce of number 5 lead. I think it is a clear improvement over your regular soft lead game loads. But if you get number 5, well, it could be number 6, it could be number 4, or it's like a chef's mix. So I am, for a 1 ounce load, for a 1 ounce non-buffered pheasant load with moderate range, I don't think you can do any better. Obviously, some people are going to appreciate the lack of recoil compared to the loads I normally use, 1.25 ounces, ounce and 5/16 of number 5s. Although certainly heavier loads, 25% plus heavier. Buffered loads, they're not going as fast, 1185 or so. But that's dead pheasant, certainly, at 32.5 yards. We'll get you out as long as you keep your shots inside 40. I think you're in pretty good shape. Number 4 bismuth did very, very well. So I think the rumors are pretty much true about Winchester Bismuth. But the biggest surprise to me is blindside 2. Because for a 20 gauge steel load of number 2s, that is just pretty darn good. As far as I'm concerned, number 2 steel, it's at its best out to about 35 yards. I think 30-35 yards, decoying ducks, steel works just fine. It's certainly not an effective super long range load because of the lack of density. But I'm telling you what, out of a 20 gauge, that's a tremendous pattern. No question. It's the best I've seen with number 2 steel out of a 20 gauge. No question about it. So that's the biggest surprise for me is blindside 2. So try it yourself. Like I said, I'm using the same gun, same nut behind the butt, same choke, True Lock modified on all 3 loads. But certainly for decoying ducks, I would give strong consideration to the new improved blindside 2. And that extra 1/16 of an ounce of payload makes a difference. That's impressive as far as I'm concerned. Well, there are no bag limits on killing paper in Illinois, at least not yet. So we have one final load to test. This is Boss 3-inch, 1.125 ounce, number 4 bismuth. So heavier payload than the Winchester at 1.125 ounce, but still what Boss calls number 4 shot. So we'll see how that does. Same gun, same choke, same range, same shooter. So what I'll do is take some screenshots and label them and just go between the 4 shot shells that are all designed to do essentially the same thing. We've got 1 ounce loads except for the Boss, the heaviest, 1.125 ounce, and the Winchester blindside 2 at 1.16 ounce. So I'll just put up the pattern sheets. We'll go from sheet to sheet, and I'll let you decide what you think the best pattern is for your purposes. I already have an opinion, but I guess that can wait till another day. So, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later.